Welcome to the Concrete Podcast, where we bring together the people who design it, produce it, place it, and build with it every day. Our goal is simple: to unify the concrete industry by sharing real conversations about materials, methods, and the challenges we're all working to solve. From ready-mix producers, contractors, engineers, researchers, and innovators, this podcast is about learning from each other and pushing our industry forward. Well, hello, and welcome back to the Concrete Podcast. I'm Joe Shutterly.
I'm Joel Cookston. Welcome.
Well, we have a very interesting episode.
I mean, we say
today.
that every time, but I feel like today we're dropping the hammer.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are going to.
And whether it goes good or bad,
that's right.
we're still going to air this thing.
It doesn't matter.
We're still going to air this thing.
So
hang with us today.
We're about bringing light on
Yeah.
subjects of the concrete industry, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, and like always, we want to give a shout out to some very special contractors down in Texas. DPR, Lithco, Armor.
Yeah.
All you guys down there doing those data centers, I want to tell you, great job. Keep up the great work. I know it's hot down there. Stay cool, stay hydrated, but thank you for everything you're doing in the concrete industry, and continue to advance the technologies that are out there.
Challenge the status quo.
All right, and making concrete better.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all for what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
So, let's just set the scene for this. Some of you have watched some of my short reels, and I call out people like elitist.
Elitist, yes.
Things like that. But recently I've discovered some interesting evidence, I would say, Joel.
Yes, so this has been going on for several months now, if not about a year,
Yeah,
right?
about a year.
Where this story's it came to light, came into the industry through some association events, some presentations, some information that was collected through a singular test pour project,
Yeah.
and then was presented into the industry at a couple of events.
Yeah, and hey, I'm all thankful for research data and all that, as long as it's done
that's what we do on the
correctly, and always try to give grace where grace is needed. But,
and show both sides of the coin.
Yeah,
right. Don't show that E5 works all the time, or this one doesn't work right. We want to show everything.
Yeah, so I'm a very transparent person. Everybody knows that, and I get accused quite a bit by the industry of being too transparent and also not playing the game. I've had many people say this to me. I don't play the game well. I am too rough around the edges, the exterior. My tone might not meet your flavor. Well,
it's not what you say; it's how you say it. Is kind of what we were told.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's passion. And out of them conversations, I get that this certain gentleman's running around the United States, and he's, sharing data of his research on colloidal silicas.
Which is where we land.
What we're in the industry. When certain individuals take on these type of research programs, I find out when you're dealing with nanotechnology, you got to be pretty intelligent on what the material actually is. You can't just have a macro understanding of these materials. You got to have a micro understanding of these.
You have to be an expert to understand all the nuances.
And you just can't just float it out there and just do whatever you think. And then all of a sudden, when you present something, it's the gospel.
Well, especially when some of these individuals, and obviously we're going to say them by name, but some of these individuals
we're going to call it out here in a minute.
They're held in high regard
by
the industry, right? And so they need to take into the fact that what they say, people believe. And obviously that can go both ways, either positive or negative for the subject matter that they're talking about.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're here today to kind of unpack.
So what ended up happening in our local area, there were some discrepancies and some challenges that we were facing in the DOT world, and that was with some excessive cracking and some scaling at the surface. All that seemed to arrive at the same time 1L. Mm-hmm. E5 was being poured on bridges way before 1L ever entered. Matter of fact, there was over 250, 300 bridges before it ever got into 1L situation. But then when 1L came in, problems started to increase. And, of course, low guy on totem pole, me. We get blamed for everything because we're the last one in the truck. Plus, you know, big corporations and things like that want to protect their own, I should say, protect their interest.
Protect their own interest.
It is what it is because you're putting in a new product, blah, blah, blah. So at the end of the day, we took a lot of hits, and we had to prove ourselves that
time
we
and time
wasn't the
again.
issue. And we haven't yet. Even in our own state, it has become a politically driven narrative of what works, what don't work. So we know at the end of the day, the truth is the truth. They launched the cement out too early. It gave everybody a black eye except them. And now they're going back to what the basics of trying to remedy this. And how they think it's to be remedied is, oh, let's go back to wet cure. Let's go back to this. Let's go back to that. All that is a game. It's a game to protect the interest of everyone. But at the end of the day, taxpayers, whether you're in the state of Indiana, whether you're in Ohio, whether you're in Michigan, it doesn't matter where you're at. Taxpayers are floating a bill for these political games going on.
Jockeying.
That's all they're doing.
Right.
We're paying it. And taxpayers are unaware of the cost of what's going on behind the scenes. So there was a certain individual hired, and I'll call him straight out. It was an individual from Oklahoma State University. He's a professor. He's well known on YouTube as a concrete freak, Dr. Tyler Lay. And he decided to do a study with colloidal silicas through Oklahoma DOT. I also know behind the political scene in my own area that they also hired him to come in to kind of debunk some of the colloidal silica myths and claims and shed some light. You know, I hear a lot of people say E5 can't meet its claims, whatever. I've met every claim I've ever said I'm going to do, got plenty of data to back it up.
Right.
And when people say that, they're just talking
out of third-party data.
They're just talking out of ignorance.
Correct.
Because they don't want to see it, or they refuse to see the data.
Which is crazy.
You know, at the end of the day. So Dr. Tyler Lay did this research program with a bridge in the state of Oklahoma. So I'm going to set the scene a little bit for this. One thing about E5 and what we do, we're always on a bridge. We're always on an overlay. And we wanted it that way. We wanted that because our background, first and foremost, we're concrete finishers. We know how important it is to get it right on game day.
Right.
We know how important it is to get it right at the plant. We know how right it gets it right at the field, and to execute the finishing within a window.
And we know that on most projects, whether it's bridge decks or commercial, there isn't that singular person that kind of spans all groups involved. Ready mix, finishers.
That's right.
Engineers. Right. I mean, there's not really that one person on the job site that makes sure that, you know, everything, all the ducks are in a row.
Yeah, and what I've learned through this whole endeavor the last year and a half since E5s became the target for a lot of these organizations to come after us, because of my strong tone, my strong message.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, I'm not against what comes in. I just want the information to make sure it's right. So if you're going to hand me something new, make sure you got all your stuff done before you hand it to me, and then I go out and try to work with it, and then you tell me it's my fault. That you didn't do your homework.
Can see through
you
the
didn't
holes
give me the information.
Now that you know what's behind the scenes and all the research that you've
done.
So
the big industries, whether they're the cement manufacturers, ready mix producers, whatever that organization is, thought I was coming against them and this and that. No, what I'm going to get is accountability. Who's going to be accountable? I mean, you know, hey, if you messed up, raise your hand, say, hey, we screwed up.
Right.
Fine, move on. Let's go fix what we need to fix.
I mean, look at our dissection of 308.
Right. Don't attack me.
Guidelines.
Yeah, don't attack me because I'm trying to do something right for the industry. So
at the end of the
we came
day,
under attack. Money got shared around to start doing study on this. I don't hide anything. People ask me to research E5. I'll research it right, or right, wrong, or indifferent what the data shows.
Look at the concrete crisis.
You know, my thing is concrete today is made with too many chemicals, and it's showing up every day in our problems. And those chemicals are being driven by multi-billion-dollar corporations, and they're just putting concrete in chemicals in at the sake of putting chemical in. Not that we really need it. No. It's just to drive sales, boost profit lines, and create shareholders' profits. Right. That's all we're doing. Right. And the distributors of that are the ready mix producers. There's an education piece about chemistry that's not getting done to them, and then there's an education piece from there getting down to the finishers. So when we start looking at from it backwards, things start to happen. So
we know everybody's connected.
Right. So there was a NC squared in last year in September. Dr. Lay decided to present.
There's a lot of presentations at this event, right, relating to concrete
so all this stuff's online, by the way.
Yeah,
you can find all this online.
We're going to provide the link.
We'll provide the links. You can go find everything you want.
It's all public.
And anything we're going to show you that we have, we will share that with you as well. We're not backwards about sharing information. Information is power to make decisions.
This is us bringing things to light.
That's right.
That everyone should be aware of, and you can make your own decisions. We're not here to make a decision for people. We're just here to show the data.
So he got there. My team was out there that day when he presented all this, and he presents it. And Ben, if you pull up the presentation, and then we'll show you. And I'm showing you slide 1 right now. So slide 1 shows colloidal silica is what you need to know by OSU, Dr. Tyler Lay. This is just a single study. There's no scope or limitations to the slides anywhere. And the title presumes the verdict before the evidence. Just what you need to know. It's already kind of setting a tone. Mm-hmm. So then when we go to slide 2, acknowledgments, Ohio Department of Transportation and Maria Maston and Sarah Taibbi. Sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Sorry, Sarah.
So, Oklahoma funded it. Sarah was the author in the appendix of the analysis and the metadata of this document. Mm-hmm. The appendix already sets conclusions, but it's never reconciled through some of these presentation documents. Mm-hmm. So if we go to slide 3, it's already setting up an emotional priming. It's setting up the word warning. So to me, this gets into the psychology of you're already setting a negative toward a product.
Yeah, you're not setting a stage that, hey, we're going to be unbiased in this presentation. We're going to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly about this material. No, we're going to have a giant skull and crossbones warning sticker at the third slide.
And then he says it. If you produce, use, or plan to use colloidal silica, then at some point during this talk, you might get upset. So how is that?
What kind of
It's a target. That's a target, and I don't like targets. I know Tyler has a lot of fans, a lot of followers, but as a professional level, this is incorrect to put out there into the market. I have never seen him do this to any other products. I haven't seen him do it to carbon cure. I hadn't seen him do it to sodium silicates or anything else he studies.
Right, anything
but
new.
But yet,
carbon
we come at the hit
nanotubes.
because E5 has a loud voice, and we're not afraid to throw our stuff out there. That's fine. I'm okay to take a target. But guess what?
So you might get upset.
Make sure your stuff's right before you start doing this. Because if I find it, and I dig long enough and I find something that's not right, I'm going to expose it. Mm-hmm. And I will expose it very loudly. So we get into slide 4, same thing, warning again. If you produce, this might get you upset. But then it says, hold your horses because a few slides later, you might be happy.
You may be happy.
So you're giving a roller coaster of this up and down thing. I don't, this is playing games. We don't need showmanship in concrete. We need solutions because we are hemorrhaging in the world right now with concrete finishers losing their rear ends with what we're making decisions at the high end level right now. They're losing their butts every day. They're out there spinning their wheels.
Right.
This is not a joking matter. And when I see documents like this that are being thrown out there in these things, this ain't time to joke around. It's just people's livelihood you're messing with. Mm-hmm. Quit messing with it. Mm-hmm. So then we go to slide 5. Still, same thing. We've had 1, 2, 3 slides of warning. This cycle of being upset and then happy may continue throughout the presentation.
I mean, I get it. He's trying to be jovial and trying to be a comedian.
You can't let people make their own decisions. You're influencing the decision because you are being funded by other organizations that don't like E5 or the tone.
Yeah, does this not outright say, well, I don't like this material, so I'm going to start my presentation off with this? It's not unbiased.
So you go to
statement.
slide 6, it's still saying the same thing. Slide 7, it changes. If you find yourself saying, did you try? Why didn't you test? What happens if? What is really going on? How does this apply to? And slide 8, it just adds in, you're in good company. did you try this? You're
in good company.
Tyler hits the exact methodological questions experts would ask. He's hitting on what these are just normal questions asked. That I agree with. Then answers them with a joke and never returns to them. So he's kind of being funny, and this is not a laughing matter. So first and foremost, I take E5 very serious because we're doing a different thing at E5 than most people are doing. We're trying to serve the most vulnerable people in the world with these things. And that's giving back to communities that depend on us day in and day out to do these things right. And when you come in with accusations and a one data set, when you know you have influence on thousands of people, don't fly
it's
with
unethical.
me.
It's unethical.
It doesn't fly. So slide 9, he goes, what is colloidal silica? Slide 10, it's the same thing. And then he gets into silica fume. Yes, silica fume has been widely used as an additive and for reducing permeability, increasing strength in concrete. We all know this. It's been around forever. It's very problematic, very water thirsty. But he's just setting the tone, and he's right on these slides.
It's basic knowledge.
Yeah. So
Silica fume.
basically,
Basic
these
knowledge.
slides, he's right from like. Go back to slide 12. From slide 12 down to slide 16. Yeah, he's right. This is the history of what is going on.
Well,
But colloidal, back up. Slide 15, though, it's not right. Colloidal silica is not new. Colloidal silica, the way E5 is using it, is new. Because what they did back in those days did not work very well. We had to modify and do some other manufacturing pieces to get this stuff to work in concrete to survive the 5 stages of hydration.
And in the 40s, it wasn't introduced. I mean, yeah, concrete is a blanket statement, but it was more so mortar mixes, right?
Back in the 40s,
Army
you know,
Corps.
it was paper.
Yeah.
Back in the 40s. But then you get into the 50s, 60s,
Army
and
Corps of
70s,
Engineers work.
Halliburton started using it in oil fracking. Things like that. And then they started using it in grout mixes and things like that in
Yeah,
oil
but it
fracking.
wasn't in
But we have to ask,
concrete.
why was it being used in oil fracking? Well, because less cracking in their grout. They figured that out. Less shrinkage.
Moisture hydration. Yeah.
Okay, but they were doing processes right that were very critical when you're doing oil fracking. So they depended on nanoparticles to get them through some very tough situations when you're doing oil fracking. So it's not that
Shrinkage.
it didn't work in the cement grout. It worked. But no one could get it to work through the 5 stages of hydration of concrete.
Or in a ready-mix truck.
Or in a ready-mix truck.
That was the challenge.
So,
I get it.
slide 16, what are the uses? He talks about all that. I get all this. It's all rhetorical things. He goes, what would you use colloidal silica for? Well, reduce permeability, increase strength and hardness. This is where I stop. I do not preach that it increases strength.
Right.
It does increase hardness, but it does not increase strength.
Strength and hardness are two different things.
Two different things, okay?
Reduce cracking, question mark.
Yeah.
Make surface concrete more workable, question mark. Really?
So he's questioning all these things. He's got the right to. He questions.
Great.
What would you do if this is true? Reduce my curing requirements, reduce cement, extend service life, blah, blah, blah. So E5 was used in over 300 plus bridges just in the state of Indiana alone. Probably more like 400. And out of those 400, there's only several that have been in question. And a lot of those were 1L. And a lot of those that were in question were overlays anyways that were wet cured. Not plastic sheet cured. It was the ones that were wet cured. Now, we can go through the long list of
The sprinkle effect, keeping concrete wet, keeping
why
the
all
blankets wet.
that happens, X, Y, and Z. But only one piece of the recipe might be strong, but the rest of the recipe might be faulty. That one piece can't make up for the faulty recipe. Right. Okay, so, but we're easy to blame, easy target. And that's okay. I'm okay to take that up. So now he talks about, in slide 19, how did it start? Oklahoma DOT wanted to build a bridge deck with each span using lightweight and conventional concrete and colloidal silica admixtures. So as he's going through here, Oklahoma State wanted to develop concrete mixtures. They wanted Oklahoma State to develop the concrete mixtures and benefit of these materials. So it's my understanding that the university, Dr. Tyler Lay and the students came up with these Mixed designs.
Mixed
I
designs.
seen the mixed designs. I looked at them. I already knew they were over chemicalized and not something I would be putting on a bridge. But hey, I'm not the expert. You wanted to do this, you do it. I'll stand out of it. My job is to make sure on the day of pour, game day, that everybody's doing game day preparation
best
and
practices.
everything's met, everything
Yep.
is done.
Best finishing.
So when we get into this, the products are, slide 22, what colloidal silica products were used. He uses A1, A2, B, and C. One thing about these, the most ingredients, he talks about the most and least active ingredients within this table. I already know that this table's wrong when I look at the solids content. I already know that these solid contents can't be off this much. And that's because they run with a very strict, most manufacturers are very strict about their quality control measures and how close they are in manufacturing.
Right.
So these are way off according to the C of A's on products delivered. And when you look at slide number, let's go to slide number, let's go to slide number 33. Just get to the discussion. At the manufacturer's recommended dosage, yes, those were manufactured recommended dosage of each product. That I do agree with. The particle size distribution is something that is a very delicate process to use, and you have to use certain tools and equipment to get the actual, because we are measuring particles that are 100,000 times smaller than the circumference of your hair. So I know what it takes to figure these out. So when we go to slide 34, I see the picture of the laser diffraction, and I already know this is wrong. Laser diffraction is not a way to measure nanoparticles to their precise. What laser diffraction will catch is agglomerations. They'll show chicken necks or turkey necks in between the particles, and then they'll consider that one particle. Which we know through federal court cases that is not the proper way to measure.
Yeah, we've been through that.
We've already been through that, and the courts are already ruled that the best way to do it is BET method, where you've literally got to dry it, break it down to each particle, and then measure.
Correct.
This is incorrect. So therefore, the message in the particle distribution.
It's an inferior way
to
test the product that is in question throughout this whole presentation and through the bridge deck. So
correct.
Obviously, you know more about this than I, but this machine goes to sub 100 nanometers?
This is just quick and dirty tests a lot of people run, but it's not correct.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell you the whole story about what's going on.
Right.
So when you go to slide 37, I knew it was instantly wrong when I start seeing, the D50 nanometer at 50, 125, 267, 37. I know that product A is not 50 nanometers. I know product A2 is not 50 nanometers. I know product B is not 267. I know product C is not. Even though those are not mine, I know what they are, because we'll get into why I know what they are, because it's interesting how I found out.
Either way,
this is not correct. So that information's wrong. It's not close to silica fume. It's not even near close to silica fume. On slide 38. And then slide 39, it talks about finer particles may be more reactive. Well, that statement is true, but 50 nanometers is not as reactive as something that is 3 to 9. So this is not correct at all. This whole information contradicts his research right off the bat. So it already puts a trust factor for me when I see this. No. You ain't doing this testing. This is not right.
Yeah, if the fundamental numbers or quality of the product is off, then how can anything following that be accurate?
Yeah, so when I look at it the wrong end, so when you go to slide 42, we talk about the wrong instrument, laser diffraction cannot see a 9 millimeter colloid. You just can't see it.
Yeah, it's too small.
It's too small.
Right.
Okay, so this graph kind of shows what it was. I know what the manufacturing is. I know what the square footage is. So here they are. I know what it is. So all that information is incorrect. Now, let's get into the bridge mix, the 0.045, the water cement ratio. There was no fly ash for this particular pour. This is just a 6.5 sack.
Yeah, pretty general,
mix,
right?
Pretty general. And then on slide 41, 3 cements, water reducer systems. So now he's testing all these water, lignin, sulfonates, polys, blah, blah, through the testing. He does slump, water cement ratio, comprehensive strength, resistivity, shrinkage tests, and diffusion of coefficient. That's on slide 45. When you go to slide 46, he starts talking about mixing the sequence, adding rock and sand, 50% of the water, mix 2 minutes, add cement, scrape the mix, add the water reducer 3 minutes, add the colloidal silica mixture, and mix 3 more minutes, measure the second slump. Okay, this right here, I don't know what dosing process this is, but I can tell you right now, this is not the way to mix colloidal silica in a mix, period.
Okay.
First of all, you got to get 70, 80% of the water up front. Mm-hmm. You cannot do 50%. You still got too much dry material. It doesn't have enough surface chemistry on it to wet it out. So therefore, something's going to happen. It's not going to perform correctly.
Right.
So I already seen that as like, well, this is wrong. Second, slump. It is what it is. Slide 48, super plasticizer. So all these results that he's getting, this is minimal change in slump. Then the colloid was added. There is significant reduction of slump. Well, yeah, there's going to be significant reduction of slump because you didn't put enough water in the front when you're using colloid. See, this goes back to not understanding what the colloidals are doing. You have to have everything wetted out before it goes in, because if it touches anything dry, it's going to pull everything in and make it dry. But see, we're shooting at the bow on something and spreading this to thousands of people in the public before you even understand what's going on. This is where I have the problem.
Right.
The reason we're doing this today is because what was presented to the public wasn't all the information.
It wasn't in its entirety.
No.
Right. We found information that is online currently that wasn't presented, that sheds a great amount of information on what colloidals can do.
So when you go through slides 50 through 60, it's just giving you the things of what's going on with the strengths of the PCE systems and this and that. Right. And then when you get into slide 60, it's just a discussion, whether high range, low range, this or that was higher or lower in strength. Okay. His own data with the compatibility chemistry of CS matches control or beats 500. That's what the colloidals did. It matched it or beat it. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. The unreliable verdict requires ignoring 2 of his 3 systems. Correct conclusion available here, match the water reducer to the admixture. So at the end of the day, what you're testing ain't so much the colloidal and how it works. It's actually the water reducer and how it worked with the cement.
The entire mix design.
This is a water reducer problem, not a colloidal problem. Mm-hmm. So now we get into the resistivity and permeability at the same. So now here it is again. Warning. Okay, we're trigger words. Okay, these are trigger words. There's a reason why we want to put trigger words in. Mm-hmm. So we're doing it again. Next slide. And then we start talking about the resistivity. Pore solution and X, Y, and Z. Now, on slide 65, he's right. Pore solution chemistry confounds resistivity. He's right about adopting it on air indicates every agency qualifying products and resistivity alone. Agree, he is correct. It buys credibility for the rest. I mean, this is credible data for this particular test. I agree with everything that he's got here. Mm-hmm. And I agree with slide 66. I agree with 67, 68, 69, 70. Now, permeability, we're all going to have a moment of I don't agree. Okay, permeability testing to me is just not a very good test. It's not a reliable test whatsoever when you're trying to prove out things. Mm-hmm. So, on slide 70 through 73, he's showing what he's using, diffusion of coefficient. And then when we get all the way to slide 80, he talks about curing. Concrete was cast in cylinders and sealed with a lid for 130 days, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's great. So
doing it by the book.
Yep. Doing it by the book as best he can.
Right. This is all general information.
The lab gave the product perfect curing for 130 days. We need to think about that. For 130 days, you just let these things sit in water. Mm-hmm. Does that really happen on a real concrete application?
No.
No, absolutely not. So why would we go off that data if it's 130 days? We wouldn't. Why even show it?
We wouldn't. No.
I mean, I don't understand why you would even show it.
On the flip side of that, yeah, you've got a couple different mix designs that you want to have, same as controlled testing for. So I get that. Let's get this data set, but don't equate it to what's happening in the field.
So when we get to slide 81, it's very interesting. So one of the buried headlines was A1 plus A2, the bridge combination. This is what was used in the bridge, A1, A2. Okay. Mm-hmm. That right there beats the 7-day wet cure control.
Cut chloride diffusion well below the control?
Yes. But it never was talked about. It never, why don't we see, hey, why don't we see the warning sign up here?
Instead of warning, be like,
hey, this stuff is doing
look
something.
at this.
Maybe some of
Is
their
this an
claims
anomaly?
is true. Is it an anomaly? Mm-hmm. Even when we get to slide 82, they're all much better than the control. When we get to slide 83, he asked the question, why don't we just use A2? Well, I don't know. I mean, why even ask the question? All three of them did the same thing, and we're talking marginable numbers.
Marginal, yeah.
They're all the same. Mm-hmm. Any variable could be the effect of that. Could have been the amounts of rocks and sand you had from one cylinder to the next. I don't know. And then, of course, B was same as control, but then again, why ain't you talking about A1, A2, A3? I mean, B means nothing. B
far below, yes.
B has nothing to do with it.
And these are lab results. So
these are lab results.
Let's keep saying that.
And then he did the diffusion with high range, this and that. Now we got to stop and think. Now, these are diffusion tests, and when you start getting into now, you've switched from mid-range to a poly, different chemistries, different surface chemistries. This doesn't mean the colloidal didn't work. It means that you changed another variable. If you kept the colloidal the same as cement and you had that with a mid-range, all you changed went from mid to a poly. The poly's the problem, not the colloidal. So don't say it's the colloidal. It's not. You want the narrative. You want the narrative for the people that you eat lunch with, eat dinner, shake hands, and do whatever else you do with.
Well, it's skewed.
You're trying to pacify them versus saying, "Hey, this is a valuable solution."
Or just present the data without any sort of personal gain to it.
Correct.
Just say it how it is.
So now we're going to get to some of the shrinkage numbers. This is where it gets very interesting. Concrete was wet cured for 7 days, and this is on slide 96, and then stored at 50% relative humidity. We only had funds to do this with 1L mid-range. Okay, so here again, we only got funds to do it with one. Then if you don't have any more funds to check 2, 3, 4, 5 cements, then my suggestion is I don't understand why this data even became public. Because at the end of the day, you're going to try to sway and influence thousands of people making decisions
with a very
small and one data point, and yet I'm hearing on the streets all over that I need to get this under control because everybody's making a decision off this one data point. For instance, AKA, I was removed from a DOT because of this presentation.
Correct.
But this presentation had nothing to do with their materials. That's wrong. You should not be trying to influence people like that with just one data point. That is wrong. And shame on the people that made a decision off one data point.
When the research shapes public policy, there is a responsibility
That's right.
of that researcher to show the mass amount of data points or say, hey, I've only got this set, so let's not base everything off of this
That's right.
set. But here's just information. Let's weigh it. Let's get us to the next point.
I mean, I've heard it from people, when you talk to certain individuals that says, well, they listen to Dr. Tyler Lay and all of his little short films and things like that. Well, I wouldn't question him. Well, then why not? No one's not questionable. Question everything and anybody.
Absolutely.
They're not gods. You don't set them on a platform. He's not the moral authority of concrete by no means.
We all add something to the conversation.
But this is all politically driven from an industry trying to remove nanoparticles out of the equation because E5 didn't come in by the way of the door they thought should come in. Like, oh, well, you need to play well with others and shake hands and do this and do that.
Sacks of 20s.
Nah, man, I'm one thing only. Get the solution in the hands of the people that need it the most.
Right.
And if you're not going to do it,
Real
I'm going to
world.
do everything I can to get it into their hands, and I don't take no for an answer.
And we're going to
And
say
I will
how
tell
we
you one
like it or
thing,
not.
it will work. If it don't work, you won't hear a word from me because I will not put it out there until I know it works.
Well said.
Sorry.
No, you're going
Sidebar.
on a soapbox, but that's good.
So when we get to the shrinkage, it was a little interesting when I seen the shrinkage results. Yes, A1, A2 had higher shrinkage. Okay, but when you look at the shrinkage versus the control in this, that we are talking very minimal microstrands. But here's what they do. I bought a book one time, and this is interesting. The book caught my eye. The book was called How to Lie with Statistics. But you know who the number one backer of that book was? Bill Gates.
Interesting.
And he talked
Well,
about...
that's not shocking to anybody.
Yeah. He talked about how to use percentages and how to use graphs and make them bigger and that. And that's exactly what I seen on the shrinkage data. Oh, well, say it's a percentage and it looks like it's bigger than what it actually is. Well, that's influence. Shouldn't be that way. When you're talking to this and you're looking at the numbers, they're minimal, but yet we'll scare someone by a big percentage number. That's lying with statistics. It's in the book. I mean, you can look that book. It was the number one bestseller on the New York Times.
Oh, my.
Backed by Bill Gates. So that's what this is. The shrinkage was minimal.
Scare tactics.
Versus what, it's influence these people to keep them away from colloidal silica.
Or just make them question enough.
It was stated. And you know what? This is what I love about podcasts and all podcasters in the whole world. We can start putting out there what we want, the things that are hidden. At the end of the day, it was told in many, many committees that colloidal silica or nanotechnology would never be an admixture in this industry because it does too much. And they don't want the other traditional admixtures to go away.
Right.
And one of those people are running one of the ASTM standards that's took 10 years
to
get done.
This material.
I
into the
heard that
market.
from a reliable source. Now, I'm sure people are going to say, oh, well, that's hearsay.
Oh,
well, I
that's
can tell you
fake
what.
news.
You all have your
Look at-
reliable
look at
sources
it.
that you trust. I have
Well,
reliable
all those
sources.
committee members are online. It's all public. You can see who sits on these
You can
committees.
see it sits on there. But, when you get to this, they do all the lie with statistics. Oh, 25% more. No, man, these are little microstrands. It's like saying, hey, I'm 3 nanometers versus 5 nanometers. Well, I'm 20% bigger. No. Dude, we were talking marginal.
Yeah.
And the percentage of variability is much bigger than that. But also, we got to go back up to the slide that talks about the mixing. First of all, you didn't mix it
water.
right.
Adding the
I told
water to
you,
the mix.
50% of the water attracts the silica to not, and then it protects, and shrinkage will happen. So you might want to call the experts before you actually start going mixing this stuff.
Well, and doesn't the slide talk about scraping the mixer? So obviously they're doing it in a lab mixer.
They're doing it in a lab
that we know
mixer.
doesn't have the
It
violence
doesn't have the energy.
needed, right?
We know
to
that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been
to weight the
proven.
material. You've got to do it in either the mixer that we've got.
And I tell people all the
central
time,
mixer?
this is not hidden.
No.
I tell people, I said, hey, if you're checking this in the lab, you ain't going to see nothing. Period. You got to take it to the field. That's where it works.
where it happens.
That's where it happens.
The magic is.
Okay, so the discussion is, on slide 106, A1, A2 plus A1 showed an increase in shrinkage of the concrete. B and C had minimal impact on the shrinkage. Okay, there again, we know why. I've just explained why. Now, you can take my word for it or not, and I really don't care if you do or not. But I know how this stuff works because we've been dealing with it for 15 years. We are the experts in nanotechnology. E5 is, whether anybody wants to like it, we are the experts.
Right. Got the patents to show it.
So now we're going to start getting right down to the brass tacks of this. Now we're going to start talking about the day of the bridge deck pour. Okay? There's a 3-span bridge on Highway 94 near Gumman. Is that right, Joel? Gumman,
Guyman, Oklahoma.
Guyman, Oklahoma. This is hot and dry environment. Okay, well, let's just talk about the environment that day. It was hot and dry on slide number 111. I think it is that 111.
I got 107.
No, 108. Sorry, slide 108.
108 with the tumbleweed.
It was hot and dry. Actually, means this is a certified pour day record of that day. If you look at this, ACI has a plastic shrinkage crack risk, boom, boom, boom. We know that we started around 4 a.m. My guys were out there. We were videotaping. That's protocol. I have very stringent protocols when we're pouring E5 in the field.
Just document.
Because we have to
Document
do,
everything.
first and foremost, I want to protect the name and the efficacy of the product and the technology. because it is the answer for a lot of problems in our industry.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I want to make sure we're right, but we're there for the finishers to make sure they're comfortable in getting what they need to get done. So as you can see, about 8:53 to 9:53, there is a spike in evaporation rate. Huge, over 0.25. Major. And then all of a sudden it goes from there at 10:53 and it plummets down. So it goes up, it goes down, and then it plumbs way down about 1:53. So this concrete went through a lot of changes.
So now this information from the National Weather Service was not presented.
No, none of this was presented. I presented this because I wanted everybody to know that this is my information of what we recorded.
Right, because when you're doing a semi-controlled test pour out in the field and you've got multiple spans that you're conducting, the temperature and timing plays a dramatic role in the performance.
It's absolutely huge.
You can't have apples to apples if you've got this much of an evaporation swing, is what you're saying.
Right. So then we go into slide 10. I got slide 109.
Okay.
So the bridge construction. So span 1 was lightweight. Span 2 was control. Span 3 was, I'll just call what it is. It was us.
It was E5,
It was
A1,
us.
A2.
End of story. But then again, when I seen the span order,
Think about a bridge deck.
I'm like, why is control in the middle? It's the easiest part of the whole bridge. There's really no stress on the bridge. Zero. There's no stresses on there. There's a lot of stress on span 1, span 2.
And
I
why
had
is
that
that?
verified by many bridge engineers that's looked at the bridge.
You mean span 1, span 3?
Yeah, span 1, span 3 has the stresses on it.
And why is that?
It's on the end of the embankments and tied in, but then this control's just sitting on 2 piers, and it has room.
It has room.
Okay, that right there already concerned me. Like, all right, this is set up.
Yeah, we setting up for
This is me
success or
personally.
failure.
I'm not accusing.
No.
I'm not accusing, but I'm just saying if I'm looking at this, I'm going, well, that's set up. You know what I'd have done? Control would have been at the end. We already know that control in the end is going to fail. But no, we put the control in the end. Why?
Control's being used already.
I know why I would do it. I want to make whatever I design look good without anything. But then again, that's what I would do. So on slide 110, it talks about it. The 1L mid-range mixture was used. So they used the mid-range for the test. A technical rep, that was us, on site, verified. All spans were wet cured. Now hear that, big word, people. All spans were wet cured.
Same curing method. Regardless of mixed design.
We're talking the gold standard of curing. Everybody thinks it's, the platinum. I've heard Tyler talk about, we got to get back to wet curing, this and
Didn't
that.
he say pour in the rain too?
Yeah, that was some little slight thing he did.
Either way. The gold standard wet cure, this whole bridge deck was wet cured. So we should have data that then is pretty normalized, right?
That's correct.
Everything should have been
it gave it
cured the same.
We're saying it gave it everything its best chance. Yeah. Okay. So when we get to slide 111, this is the actual time period we started pouring. 6:53, there's the air temperature. These are our records. We're very detailed on what we do and I want to know what my concrete. Now, at 8:53 to 9:53, remember that had that huge spike in evaporation.
Yep.
That's when we actually were taping our videos. Okay, and I'm now going to show you the video. Ben, if you pull the video up, we're going to go ahead and play it. It's about a minute long. But you will notice it's a kind of an interesting day. It's 9:53.
I would turn that off.
Oh.
Just so, yeah.
There we go. So it's 9:53.
Yep.
According to the video.
I mean, I know.
And according to this is fogging. I don't think that's fogging.
I mean, let's put it out to the people.
Okay, ACI 308. Let's just quote it verbatim. That is not fogging. You do not spray on top. You let it go up in the air and let it fall down. And then you do not work it into the surface. And what do we see this gentleman doing? Working it into the surface on an E5 bridge deck. That would have been a no-no. Everybody on the crew would have been fired. Gone today. Why? Because I know what that's going to do. It's going to cause shrinkage cracks at the surface. It's automatic.
The water cement ratio at that top middle.
I told my guys, Don't do anything because you're not in charge of that bridge.
No,
you're not
sir.
in charge of that crew. You just notate it, video it,
Document it.
and I said, hopefully honesty comes out and people will recognize this. Well, honestly, don't seem to pay too high on this data set because none of this was showed or shared at the NC squared in 2025. It was led to believe that E5 cracked more than everything else. Well, here's the video.
Everything was the same. Everything was done properly.
Everybody's got to remember, here's the video. It's showing, and I'm telling you why. Because they're putting water on the top, working it in, and you get a rapid evaporation and comes straight down. That dries it up. Guess what you get? ACI 308-26 tells you it will craze. It will crack. Tells you right in the document.
And that video, let's explain. That video is not for wet curing purposes.
No, it's not for wet. This was for fogging. This is fireable.
That's power washing.
This is not right.
That's power washing.
So that's what went on, and here's all the information.
Well, and it'd be interesting too to note was that technique done on the entire bridge deck, or just when these?
Well, we're going to get to that
these
evidence.
Evaporation
the evidence that was not shared.
We do have that.
Okay, so now we're on slide 111. It talks about the crack survey was done by drone 120 days after casting. A drone survey was used in the length and location of cracks. Okay, that's great. We got the cracks. So the span 3 had most cracks. The control had 0 cracks. Hard to believe. I don't believe that for a minute. That's just me. I'm skeptic. But when you look at it, it's in the center.
The control had 0
It doesn't have a whole lot, there to deal with. There's not a lot of tension. It's free to kind of move about what it needs to do. Great, awesome. But then, span 1 was lightweight aggregates of internal curing, and it had some cracks.
So quick question from, a guy that doesn't know much, obviously. If control didn't crack, then why are we doing this test?
Exactly.
Why are we doing tests?
Why are you wanting to look for something new if your control always performs like
this? Seems like a waste of taxpayer dollars and university dollars.
You should never even mess with
this test if the control was acting so.
Yeah, you should never mess with
glowing.
It. This control was set up for success. Every engineer I've talked to structurally looked at that and said, "Well, that's the best spot to put it if you're going to do, controls." So, as we go to slide 113, we're looking at the lightweight. It's showing, 4.8 lengths of crack. 38 total, and had total of 8 cracks. Okay, and then we look at the control. Only 1 crack and only 3.9. I don't believe that for an instance.
That's a clean sheet, clean bill of health right there.
So, it's hard for me to believe all that, but that's okay. That's what's reported, and that's what the world believes.
And if it does work to that degree,
and it's,
congratulations, Oklahoma State.
Both internal curing spans lost to plain concrete lightweight cracked 4 times as much as control. Okay, that's what it says. And then, span 3, A1 plus A2. This is where, the industry's looking at this and watching this guy present this data and going, it cracked 44 cracks. Well, back up to the video. We know why it cracked 44 times. You cannot run from that evidence. You throw too much water on it and the evaporation rate went over 0.25 and slammed back down. You just, massive moisture rush, moisture drive coming out of that concrete. That's cracks. And if you look at that, the way the cracks is, it's not too far from where they were fogging on that video. Okay. The video is amazing.
It's pretty damning.
But no one wants to put that out there. So that's why we're doing a podcast on it. We're going to clear this up.
And it's just presenting the evidence that we have. You make your own decisions.
So then he kind of goes to the next slide and he goes, these cracks are at the abutment. Okay, maybe. But I'm looking at the fogging was completely wrong. Okay, yeah, you're going to get some cracking, but that's a lot of cracking. Okay, so I'm going to say, don't freaking put water on the concrete surface. I don't get it. Fogging to me is a legalized way of putting water on the surface. It just shouldn't be done.
Yep.
So why are there so many cracks? He goes to slide 118, slide 119. It might be influenced by the shrinkage. So there he's already accusing mixing lab data with field data, but never mentioned. Right here's where he should have been pulling the video up or some documentation saying, hey, it's really not might be the shrinkage. It could have been the application.
Finishing techniques.
But why didn't he disclose that?
Right.
Well, did he not know? Oh, hold that thought. Because I'm going to prove to you he did know. You heard me. I'm going to prove that he did know that video practices were done. He just didn't have the video. Stay tuned. I'm going to show you that one. So then we go to slide 119, and then we talk about the layout biased, the trial. Control got
now,
protected
this is not
span.
in
This is not in his presentation. This is from my information of talking to engineers and things over and gathering the research.
Kind of dissecting the information.
So it says it right there. The control was protected center span. Okay, it only cracked one time. You got span 3, which was E5. It had 44 cracks. It was in the abatement restraint plus the approach of the slab. Okay, same thing for lightweight. Okay, both of them went through. Question is, did lightweight get treated exactly like E5? Did they put so much water on there and think? No, because the weather was different when they poured that.
Pouring early in the morning. Look at the
way
weather
different.
Again.
Way different. So again, you got to be careful. All you presenters, quit cherry picking the data and just show what it is and back up what it is. Whether you like the data or not, just call it out.
Correct. Show all.
If it ain't in your favor or the people you're getting paid by, maybe you need to have an honest conversation with them and say, look, stuff's working. Don't hide everything, as I'm getting ready to show you. It's coming up. So,
keep teasing
again,
people.
120, why an end span cracks more than a center span? It's the mechanics. Abatement restraint at the end of the bends and the deck is tied to the abutment. At the slab, ties to shorten. Drying shrinkage, thermal contractions, autogenous cracking, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff plays a fact in that shrinkage. Control just sat in the middle and had no restraint.
He was only restrained by the curing of the.
That's it.
Lightweight and the E5.
So you guys can download this information. It's going to be for you guys to look at. Have all you want. I love sharing information and data.
Post it.
Because I said at the end of the day, knowledge is power, and people need to know this.
Right.
So the discussion. The span with A1 plus 2 had the most cracks. However, there are some unusual cracking at the abutment that needs more investigation. Gee.
Do you think?
You already had the information. You just didn't want to disclose it at the time you presented this, and I'm going to show you how I know that. The increase in shrinkage from A1 may be contributed to this.
To what?
It doesn't say. It just says ongoing work. We have taken cores and measuring permeability of the concrete. And it says we are still analyzing the data from the field. Okay. Well, don't know what you're analyzing, but it is what it is. So on slab 121, what does this mean? All colloidal silica admixtures show potential to improve the permeability of concrete. Show potential. Well, there's way more data than you took. So what you need to do is not make statements like that. And you need to make statements that are true and factual. Just because your data didn't show it doesn't mean people like Nebraska's is not true. Indiana's is not true. Other people's that's doing this is not true. You need to specify this is true for your geographical area.
Well, and as a researcher, don't formulate conclusions. We've worked with enough valid researchers in this industry, amazing people that test and report. There's no conclusion. Now, we get upset with them a lot of times, right? Because, what's the summary of this? Can't you provide a summary? Can't you provide a conclusion? And their response is no. Here's the data. You interpret it, right? That's what this should have been. Here's the data. Let us interpret it. Don't say warning. Don't say shows potential. You're coming to conclusions.
Yes, you're putting. It's a psychological method.
Yes.
I mean, it's not rocket science.
Show the data. We don't need your opinion.
So when you go to slide 22, some colloidal silicas caused an increase in concrete shrinkage. Okay, well, I'm telling you right now. That's one test only. It does not increase shrinkage. It either controls it or gets better, depending on the cement. But at the end of the day, shrinkage tests are done with mortar bars. They're not done with the actual concrete in the lab. Okay, so at the end of the day, if you didn't do this with the aggregate, you have no idea. You can't make that claim.
Where's the report of the shrinkage bars?
Well, it's up in the top slides where we're talking with the mid ranges and all that. See, you're testing with that. You're not literally testing the colloidal silica without the mid-ranges. In a straight mortar mix. You're just doing mid-range and polys. You need to do it heads up. What does the colloidal do by itself?
If your statement says some colloidals caused increased concrete shrinkage, well, you're not taking into account the other chemicals that are in that mix.
Or, by the way, it was mixed when it said you didn't have enough water in it at the beginning.
Yeah.
So the colloidal silica admixture were sensitive to the types of cement. No, the colloidal silicas are not sensitive to the types of cement. They're not sensitive to the cement. The cement is sensitive to the way it's processed now. It's sensitive to itself.
Type of cement and water reducer
Water reducers are sensitive to the actual cement. So it's not the colloidal, it's the actual water reducers
Right.
that can't handle the new chemistry change because
It's
they
a
were built
false
for type
statement
1.
right there altogether.
Everything now with 1L has not been redone chemistry-wise.
Mm-hmm.
This made their performance variable. No, concrete's variable all the time. That is, you cannot say that. It is not the variable.
This one thing made their performance
So then,
variable.
the statement that I heard in the room that made a lot of people aggravated, that is a believer in technologies like Nano, said your enemy is the unexpected change. Okay, that really upset a lot of people. Well, when you make statements like that, the unexpected change is what? So he says permeability is critical parameter in concrete. Is it? Or is that just you saying that? Okay, listen, we're going to talk about permeability for a minute.
I mean, granted, it is a critical parameter.
Permeability doesn't mean nothing if it cracks.
Agreed, but we do want less permeable substrates.
Do we?
Well, yeah, we don't want things soaking in. We
Maybe.
don't want brines and salts and water and.
If that's the case, these permeable tests, some of the testing results they're shooting for, we should never have an issue with a bridge deck, but we do.
Agreed, but we're not saying that. We're saying that it is. I mean, we can agree that it's a critical parameter in concrete. Whether they test right or not is a different conversation.
Yeah. I still don't think it's critical. Not as critical as the other, which is durable, abrasion.
Yeah, I'm not listing
Yeah,
which one's number one. I'm just saying it is one of the test parameters.
So at the end of the day, he goes, if I'm relying on an admixture to reduce my permeability, it should be reliable with the materials that you are using. No. You can't really say that because you're looking at lab versus field. Some of the unreliable data you're accusing come from the field that you wasn't there that day.
Well, yeah. Well, how about the unexpected change of like the water being worked into the surface and the 20-mile-an-hour winds and the evaporation rates? You can't rely on admixtures and mix designs alone. You've got to rely on good practices out in the field.
So here's the slide that torqued everybody off, a lot of people in the room that day. 128. Your enemy is the unexpected change. And, of course, we see a guy sitting on his keister drilling, and then you got the devil. Okay, well, that's a strong picture to be putting out there.
Wow.
So you're insinuating that colloidal silica is the enemy because that's the first thing everybody thought of. So don't come and feed me, Tyler, your crap about you really, care about the industry and that when
And
you're
being
already
unbiased.
Yeah, and this is not being
Like,
unbiased.
why would you put Satan on your presentation? Or the devil?
Then on slide 29, he goes, I would not change my curing practices. No, you probably won't, but I will show you why I would with his own data. I do not recommend changing your construction practices or materials designing reliable on colloidal silica admixtures that tested to reduce permeability.
Again,
Why
is a researcher directing what the country is doing?
Exactly.
Present your data,
And be
allow
done.
them.
Don't make these accusations when you just did one test and didn't even do it right because you're not a nano expert.
And was he out on the bridge deck?
No, he was not out on the bridge deck. He has no idea. Wasn't even at the plant when it was mixed. So at the end of the day, he's making a statement on his own opinion. And he should state this, that this is his opinion.
This is my opinion.
But at the end of the day,
I do not recommend changing.
if you're not an
anything.
expert in it and don't know it, then don't say it. Because it's about ready to change for him in about a few more slides. I would not change my curing practices. I would not change my curing practices because of colloidal silica. I would not increase my water cement ratio because of colloidal silica. I would not decrease SCM dosage because of my colloidal silica.
What a great presentation.
So at the end of the day,
the design is amazing.
This is his own opinion off his own data set of his own local materials that, first of all, his mix design sucked. Whoever designed that mix design, you just designed an actual mix problem. Like I said, when you add 2-3 water reducers in a mix, I don't have a whole lot of respect for that because that's just chemical dosing to hit a number, and you're not taking care of the people in the field, and they're having to do bad practices like that video showed just to get the mix done. So, if whoever you got trained on by mix design, I would probably go get a refund
I plead the fifth.
Now, slide 131, trial batch. I didn't understand. I didn't think we understand. Do I think colloidal silica should be used? I think you should use any tool that helps you make better concrete. Colloidal silica can do this in some cases. Okay.
If you back up to the other slide, it says, I would not.
Mm-hmm.
Then he says, well, colloidal silica can do this in some cases.
It contradicts itself. Bro. So slide 130, trial batch, this and that. So we go to 133, but my data shows product X, Y, and Z is great. Well, what's X, Y, and Z? I don't know what that was. This is possible. I don't think we understand how colloidal silica interacts with other cements, water reducers, SCMs. You should trial batch and test. Okay, so when you're making a statement that you don't understand how colloidal silica interacts with other cements, then why are you putting data to the public prematurely before you even understand them? I know why. Because you have friends in high places that wants this information out to be damning towards colloidal silica technology so that they don't make any more advancements in the industry because of, I should say, threat of other products going to the wayside that they can't control. Now, slide 134. Why did this product work on Project A and not work on Project B? I don't think we understand how colloidal silica, so it's a repeat. Slide 135, he does the same slide again. Setting the emotions up for the next slide. Summary. I recommend that you do not use them. So he's telling you not to use them. So he says they're usable in some cases, but don't use them. For one cement and water reducer combination, colloidal silica lowered the permeability. But then it says it lowered the permeability, and for others, it had no effect. Well, maybe that's the water reducers, because I've done a lot of testing on water reducers.
It's kind of all over the board. This is a very confusing presentation.
And this should never been out as a presentation. And shame on you, Tyler, for putting it out there.
Right.
It should not been done.
He is a PhD.
No, I don't care if he's a
No, I'm just saying.
I'm going to pile higher and deeper.
He is a PhD, so as somebody with high intellect, I would think you would want to be very clear on your information,
if I'm a lawyer,
on your presentation.
If I'm a lawyer trying a case, I'd be looking at the evidence going, what was the motive? Why did you prematurely set this out?
With this one,
why didn't you have a conversation with somebody before you
Because not only is he representing himself, but he's representing the university.
He's representing Federal Highway. DOT. He represents ACA.
There's a lot of
he represents all the big industry players.
Right.
And all the big industry players, set him on a pedestal. Well, I'm sorry if all this offends you, gets you mad, but this is the livelihood of millions of people that pour concrete every day trying to make decisions for solutions. You are not the moral authority.
Yeah, if you don't want to require a trial batch, then I would recommend that you do not use them. Just blanket statement.
Yeah, so here we go, slide 137. Summary. Trial batching is the only way to understand how these materials will behave.
Right.
No, you can't. You can't trial batch these and understand them. First of all, when you ought to understand this, you got to understand the molecular world of these things first, and then move it into a trial batch. Mm-hmm. And you know what this is? You start to discover that the products we've been using for years now are the actual problem in concrete. Once they're removed and these type of materials come in, everything gets better, period. Does the industry really want better? Well, finishers do. I think there's some great ready-mix. Listen, great ready-mix companies out there. Okay, and a lot of you ready-mix guys don't like my tone, or you think I'm fighting you. I'm not.
No,
this is actually helping you. Whether you see it or not, it's helping you. Giving you solutions so that when you send your product out, your customer base is happy.
Right.
They get paid. You get paid.
And you don't become a commodity
and you
anymore.
don't have so many variables you're chasing. We've become no different than the medical world. Prescribe a drug for everything. Mm-hmm. No, we don't need a chemical for everything in concrete. Period. Right. So if you don't want to require a trial batch, then I should not recommend you use them. Great. You know what?
I think slide 138 is probably my favorite, and I'm glad that he I'm glad that he ends with it because it's pretty apparent, right? You've got, what are those, $50 bills?
Man, it looks like 50s. It's about the money.
With your big eyeballs. I mean, bro, this PhD from Oklahoma State University, it's not a good look for you.
No. And then you get slide 139, concretefreaks.com, and then, slide 40. Well, that's where it ends.
That's where it ends.
Where we thought.
Bum, bum, bum.
Drum roll. Boom. After further investigation, I figured out that this presentation went to 171 slides, but it was never disclosed to the public.
It was never presented.
Never presented.
Now, it was posted.
It was posted.
For a short
And
amount
then
of
it was
time.
taken down and then reposted with the 140. But I got the 171, and I was amazed on what I found on 171. And this is all downloadable from us. You can have all this, see it for yourself.
I mean, we'll have the links
So,
to Iowa State.
when he starts to go through,
Oklahoma State University.
yeah, once he goes through this on slide 142, it basically starts painting out the test he was going to run. Slide 143, he goes, what does this mean? Trial batching is critical to understand how admixtures work. If you're not requiring trial batching, blah, blah, blah. It's a repeat of slide 138, 39.
However, I like this slide because it says, if you are not requiring a trial batch and investigating the results, then you are setting yourself up for unexpected change. That's a fair statement.
It's fair.
Other than the other statement that said, if you're not requiring a trial batch, don't use this period.
That's right.
Well, why did you change from that tone to the tone that you didn't present?
So then jump down to slide 147 on this. And it shows the span, 3, 2, and 1. And this is the appendix where it begins. He never showed these slides. And it really peed me off when I seen these. Because this right here is showing the whole picture versus cherry picking what you wanted the audience to see because someone influencing you what they want out.
So let's just stick to the data.
Sorry, ticking me off.
I know. Let's just stick to the data. So
here we go.
Uncovering this
span 1, slide 148.
140.
We're at the lightweight aggregate. It had a scaling of 23.65%.
This is the lightweight aggregate.
This is the lightweight aggregate. Hold on, scaling.
We didn't talk about that in the presentation.
No, we didn't talk about that in the presentation.
There's cracking. Lots of cracking.
Lots of cracking. But we didn't talk about scaling. But this deck scaled 23.65% of the deck with lightweight aggregates and wet cure. The gold standard had a scaling problem.
Like a mind-blowing
Holy
thing for us,
cow.
Ben?
You mean we had a deck scale 23% and we even wet cured
And
it?
in what amount of time, Joe?
That's the part that's missing. We don't have the evidence, and I'm assuming by what we have when this was uploaded to the internet, it was about 5 to 6 months because it was poured in April. The presentation was in September.
Right.
So May, June, July, August. It was 5 months.
At most.
Okay. But hear it. Wet cure.
Everything
scaled.
was
23.65%. This is amazing that the gold standard failed by the concrete freak that designed all this.
So it says nearly a quarter of the lightweight span surface scaled.
Now we're looking at slide 149. That's into the cracks again. And then we got a picture of 150 where he's measuring the cracks. And then we see the actual scaling marked on page 151. And we have 891, I believe it is, square feet of scaling out of 3,700 square feet.
Roughly 23%.
23%.
24%, yep.
Okay, first of all, it's the gold standard of curing, the gold standard of internal curing, and yet we scaled 23.65%. What's that tell you?
And more than likely, the fogging wasn't done on that portion.
Don't know. Can't answer that.
That was the first.
So nearly a quarter of the lightweight
don't
span
know.
scaled. The conventional internal curing had the worst surface durability of the entire bridge.
This is the lightweight?
Now, there's pictures of it. Oh, my. This would have been helpful to show in the full presentation. Now, let's look at the control. Slide 153. Scaling 22.45%
23.
and only had one crack. So we put the lightweight on wet cure. We put the control in wet cure. We put the control in the middle to control the stresses. With any good engineer would know that and set it up for passing. But now we have,
and then we put the test panel that we want to debunk at the end, at the middle of the day,
right,
when evaporations are high, wind is high, and sun is high.
So one crack, oh great, that's awesome. But the surface is scaling. Congratulations, you got one crack, but your surface is gone.
And look at that picture.
Oh, dude, that picture's bad. But no one showed this during the presentation. Why wasn't this shown during the MC squared meeting?
In its entirety.
In its entirety. Why?
That's all we're asking for. We don't care if our stuff didn't work.
That's right.
Or if
Why wasn't
it cracked,
it shown?
It just needs to all be shown.
So then we go to, the control. We see the crack one. And then there's the scaling. 831 square foot out of the 3702.
Again, another 23%.
Holy cow, wet cured and scaled, and holy cow, all the gold standards, all the ACI documents, it says this is what we should be doing. It's because type 1L does not handle wet cure. Period.
It's that saturation of the surface.
It's too much water too early. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, now I'm not even going down the other.
Don't go down that hole.
Leave it alone.
Leave it. Okay.
I'll wait till I get more factual evidence to put that one to bed too.
Correct.
So, control, more pictures.
So we're still at
Let's
23?
look at that. Them pictures are nasty. It's slide 157.
Yeah.
That's scaling. It ain't even been through a winter yet.
I mean, what DOT would want to see that in 6 months?
This would have been great to have. This would have been great to show everybody in that room and been honest.
Because it fundamentally says we have a problem.
Yes.
And it's not just this admixture or this lightweight or this control. We have a fundamental problem here. I wonder what that problem could be.
Well, I'm thankful for this because what he proved is
thankful.
proved what we've been saying. Wet cure is an issue. It's not curing or solving our issues.
It's not solving.
It's a Band-Aid. Mm-hmm. And this is just proving why. But
is it a
holy
Band-Aid?
cow, let's go to slide 158. E5.
We did not put this together.
No, you download this right off the site. 5.97%. We had 75% less scaling than lightweight aggregates and control.
Noted by the guy.
Noted by Tyler himself. It's his presentation.
But wasn't presented.
But was not presented.
Didn't think it was valid or valuable information.
Telling you that the wet cure doesn't mean nothing. Because it's scaled on the control, but E5 made the difference. That's what this showed. Now, why wouldn't he have showed that? Well, because then that would validate what we're doing.
It's positive information.
And then that would have been influential on a lot of people. And then that would have,
Well, it would have negated the use of the devil picture.
Well,
and he really wanted to use that
So then we start looking at this and we see the cracks. Yeah, it had a lot of cracks. We already know why it had a lot of cracks. Had a lot of cracks because they were putting water on the surface, working it in, the evaporation rate, which is all factual data that's backed up by the airport on the weather. Mm-hmm. But then, this is interesting. On slide 160, no cracks were detected on the north portion of span 3, which is supported by the pile. Cracking were mostly observed at the adjacent section, validating where they were fogging the most. We had none after, but we have cracking where they were fogging. Hello? How much more evidence do you need?
Let's just call it power washing from here on.
Yeah, okay. So, it states that E5 showed improved concrete surface texture. It's the most important thing we're trying to do in concrete is preserve the surface and the durability.
Yeah.
The rest of this can be fixed by practices. Now, here's some cracking. It's showing the measurements of the crack. Mm-hmm. I could not locate these cracks on the map. These are all the pictures I took from some of the cracks. Okay, that's cool. That's awesome.
Why would he say, and this is noted in slide 162, I could not locate these cracks on the map?
I think it's something when they was flying over the drone, but then again,
okay,
I'm not quite sure what that means.
I don't either.
But then there's the surface. Only 223 square foot of the surface.
5.9%.
Only 5.97%. That is absolutely amazing. Nanotechnology works.
And why
but E5 has spent 10.
Why wouldn't someone share this information?
Because the industry's scared of us.
Well, I mean that's
They are
the conspiracy.
But
theory
why are you scared? Because of change. It's really it's what you lose.
But aren't we all kind of fighting scaling in delamination in today's 1L?
I just
cements?
showed you what I did to 1L. I just took it over control by 75%. I did better. It wasn't the wet cure that did it. It was E5. But yet this information was not allowed to be out into the public so they could see
presented from an unbiased perspective.
He gave a presentation that made other people go the other way and cost E5 damage. that should be apologized for.
I agree.
So here's some more pictures, blah, blah, blah. So this is amazing. Here's his actual conclusion.
Oh.
Span 3 had the most cracks.
165.
Yep, slide 1. E5 had the most cracks, while Span 1 had only a few. Lightweight internal curing might have reduced the shrinkage and thus the cracking. I am not sure why E5 had a lot of cracking, but spraying water.
Wait, what's it say?
Yeah, here we go.
This is his own words.
It's his own words backing up my video,
but
never said it in the main presentation to the public.
Now, when did he see the video?
He hasn't till now.
You never sent him the video?
Nope.
Okay. So he knew about the spraying water because it's
someone did. Someone told him.
Slide or point number 3.
Because he says it right there. A lot of cracking, but spraying water after pouring, over finishing,
poor curing.
So now he's admitting that the wet cure is poor curing.
Wasn't that the gold standard?
Well, it's the gold standard him, but he's saying now poor curing. How can you have poor curing when you already use wet cure?
There's no other curing
might be the reason of the surface cracks. Why wasn't that information presented at the NC squared?
I think we all can come to a conclusion.
Yeah, I think we all seen the pattern with this. So, there's not a lot,
But I applaud him for putting this information into a slide deck at some point. Now, based on, let's call it, he didn't have enough time.
Whatever.
They didn't give him enough time, so he cut it down. And what does a presenter do? Well, I got to cut out some of these slides. Well, what should I cut out?
Here's what we'll do. We'll let the listeners determine what this is, and at the end of the day, all I smell is Dr. Fauci. That's all I smell. Trust the science. Yeah, well, trust it. Why didn't you present all the science?
I mean, I get it.
The reduction in the strength of E5 mixtures may have contributed to the observed cracking under traffic loading, as we can see in the lab results. Okay, that was something never discussed.
The strength?
But the strengths were fine.
Tests?
Kind of contradicts himself. The strengths were fine in his testing.
As
but different out in the field because of traffic loading.
As we see in the lab results.
But then again, it's confusing to me. So then we get to slide, 166, there's nothing.
Hold on. That last bullet point, It says span 1 and 2. So that's lightweight and control. Had more surface spalling. The other two spans showed improved concrete surface texture. The other two spans.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what other two spans.
So he basically calls out lightweight and control having more surface spalling. Then, well, there's only 3 spans.
Yeah, so what's the other two?
No. Span 1 and 2 had more surface spalling.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
Then span 3.
But it says the other 2 spans showed improved concrete surface texture.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
But at the end of the day, why didn't he go ahead and present this data and say, look, 1 and 2 scaled the most? No matter if they didn't crack, but they scaled, so your surface is crap. What are you going to do without your surface?
This slide says it all.
And then you get down to slide 168, and then we get down to the brass tacks of who the other chemical companies were that they tested. And by the way, when I look at them, they're already infringing against our IP, so that's a different discussion.
There's that.
We can go on. And then, of course, there's the slides of the, this or that. And then talks about his samples. And then slide 171, appendix solids retest micro sampling cores. So, and then the end of it. So this is really disappointing after I received this, after I downloaded this presentation off of the actual internet.
You didn't know what you had.
Didn't know what I had.
Right after the conference.
I'm disappointed because my gut feeling was right when I first had a conversation with him. I just didn't have it. I didn't have anything to prove it. I just knew it. And I don't know, call it a blessing in disguise, but at the end of the day, everybody listening to this should rethink how concrete is being manipulated from big corporate. Research dollars are being spent to influence.
Well, and to shape a narrative, right? It's like we're gonna.
Hey, this ain't no different than the COVID narrative, man. That's exactly what this is.
Or
E5's the boogeyman.
Or the 1L cement narrative, where you can go on and on about all the electric car narrative. I mean, how many narratives have we been sold a bill of goods on, and then you find out a decade later that, oh, well, that information wasn't shared with us. Well, that would have been helpful to know.
Well, absolutely. So at the end of the day, now I'm skeptical.
Well, we were skeptical before.
On skeptical now.
Now we're just kind of.
This is not
We're
right.
a little angry.
And I'd be honest with you, if the industry continues to allow for this type of behavior, then there needs to be a major pulling down of a lot of. There just needs to be a cleaning house. At some level, this needs to be fixed because.
Well, especially
taxpayers are.
I was just going to say
we're hemorrhaging, man. Our states are hemorrhaging with tax dollars. Our infrastructure. You know how many times I go to a party? Man, you guys' roads suck. Oh, your bridges suck. This sucks. Well, why?
Or when we're out on bridge decks and these things are being repoured, the top's taken off, repoured again. I mean, is that really sustainable? Is that good use of taxpayer dollars? When I see on this report 6 months later, you had how much scaling? How much spalling? I mean, it's atrocious to imagine that something within 6 months is like buying a new car.
Absolutely.
I mean, paint job wears off in 6 months.
Tyler, I'm not going to apologize for this podcast at all. Zero. I have no apologies. But I think there was many conversations that I've had that this should have been out in the open and not kept secret.
Presented in a different way.
Yeah.
You've got the data, share the data. Your own opinions don't really matter.
So now I got to think everything that, at the beginning I started in this. And, hey, I used to sit and watch some of these videos when he first come out and everything. I thought, well, that cat knows a lot. But at the end of the day, it's like seeing your superhero fall. It's like, why'd you do that to me, man? That's not cool.
Right.
That's
it wasn't just that he presented shortened data sets. That wasn't the real part here is that he presented it, and what did it do to some of the relationships that we had worked 5-10 years to build, and to show data from Purdue, from Iowa State, from all these different universities. Not us. We paid them to do it because all universities need paid.
That's right.
I.e. Tyler gets paid to do his. But all these universities, then when we build these relationships with NDOT, with ODOT, with all these other DOTs across the country, one singular thing then starts eroding all of that. I mean, take some responsibility.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I don't know if I use the word disheartened in this situation, but if you did this, how much of this you've been doing from years past? How much did you do on the super air meter to get it into public that you own? How much did you do to get the Phoenix where it did? And, I look at those things and think, well, you got your Phoenix ASTM certified very quickly, but we can't get a colloidal silica after 10 years of ASTM, and we have to restart it because why? Well, because people hate this technology. I should not people. Let's say the industry that has something to lose.
All the money.
The chemical companies.
All the money hates it.
And the cement companies.
Right.
Do not like these technologies because, one, they make concrete last way too long and can't increase reoccurring revenue. And second, they can't control it.
They don't own it.
They do not own it.
And thank God they don't.
And at the end of the day, that's okay. I'm here to help. I'm not against you. But if you're going to continue positioning yourself against us,
oh, buddy, we're going to gather our troops.
I'm not going to.
Because there are
no
hundreds or 10,000 contractors out there like you.
Well, I'm calling on my brethren. Brethren, you guys got to get your voice, man. Get your voice back. These companies don't run your business. It is your business, your neck on the line. You tell them what you want, period. You carry the contracts. You carry the money. You carry the risk. You carry the hours. You're out there day and night.
Callbacks.
When you're doing a mixed design and they give it to you and you're out there pouring concrete and it ain't performing right and you get a problem, I don't see any admixture guys or cement guys standing out there with you when you're arguing.
2 or 3 a.m. in the morning.
Okay?
Right.
I don't see that happening. I never had it happen to me in 30 years, but you know what? I finally got smart. Said, we're done. I'm in control. I have the contract. I'm going to tell you what I need because the risk is already on you. As soon as you sign the contract, you're responsible no matter what that specification says.
Correct.
Because the specifications is full of loopholes against you. So you guys got to, rally, get behind each other. You guys got to take control of this and get it back. You know, there's an accountability issue within the concrete finishing industry that needs to return. We got to get our pride back that we are a very rare breed of individuals.
The work ethic alone.
We have to change on a dime when we're finishing. The weather's moving, the sun, the clouds, this and that. And we're having to do things that most people can't even understand. We're changing pressures. We're changing movements. We're doing everything without even thinking. We're almost like little superheroes running around on a job site to get the concrete.
All right,
to
here
finish.
you go.
At the end of the day, man, time to bind together, boys.
It is time to bind together, and it's time to be transparent. This is what this podcast is all about, bringing information to the people. You can make your own decisions. So,
and I'm not going to be backwards about it. I want people like Tyler. I want people like Terry Harris. I want people like Peter Taylor. I want them to come on the show and debate. Not even debate. Let's just talk. If I'm ignorant of something, I will tell you I'm flat ignorant of something.
Right.
Teach me then.
Open dialogue.
Don't put in a box. You know how many trial pours I've done with E5 that failed? Probably 1,000, but I finally found one that worked.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of cement or that. It's just because
bulb.
it has to have water first. That's the key to silicas. You got to put the water in first. It cannot go in half-hearted.
Right.
All right. Enough of that. So I'm sure I'm not going to win a bunch of fans with this, but that's okay. I love you all anyways.
The truth sets us free.
The truth sets you free.
Download it all today. We'll get it on our website. We'll get the links out there on YouTube captions so y'all can see for yourself.
And like I said, if you need anything,
we are here.
We're here. We'll get to you. Promise you. All right. See you on the next episode.